Hey everyone, I hope you can make it. For today's live, we're going to talk about the tools that you need as a freelancer, right? What you need for tools so you can work on it for clients and writing and all that stuff. You need a lot of tools, especially if you're an online writer. Let me know if you can hear me, say hi. And if you are using these tools, let me know. Um, I've been writing for like a decade, and I actually don't use so many tools. I only use a few of them, but this live has 17. So I use most of these, but not all of them, and they're not always a staple in my business. Some of them are, but a lot of them aren't. So the tools that I'm recommending or sharing, most of them are free. Some of them you have to invest your time. Some of them I am an affiliate for, just to let you know, which means if you do decide to sign up to these tools or some of these tools, I do get a small kickback or a commission based on that. So thank you so much for helping me out. That's what helps me with my creator business and helps me with this YouTube channel as well. Hey, coastal artist living on island time. Glad you can hear me loud and clear. Awesome. All right. So the first tool, of course, is when you want to be an online writer, you need a website. And of course, there's lots of different platforms you can use. You can use Wix, Squarespace, are the only two that I know. Oh, Webflow is another one. But I recommend and have always used WordPress. I have actually several websites that use WordPress. And so that's the first tool that I think a lot of writers should have in their tool belt or in their toolkit is to have some kind of online presence. And usually that is with a website online. You can take a look at, my website here that I have. Let me just open up my site. Oops, that's not it. There it is. Oh, excuse me. I have something in my eye. Okay, so a website could be just one page. A lot of, you know what? Jessica Walrack has, I think, one page on her website. So if we go to her website, I think you just keep on scrolling down and down. So this is her website. I don't think she's running this on WordPress. I believe it is another platform, but she decided just to have one main page that scrolls and keeps on scrolling. I'm not sure if that's the best way to optimize your writer website. Like it just keeps on going and going, right? If I was a client, I would have to scroll and scroll just to find, like, what if I really just wanted someone to do finance stuff? Like that's at the very bottom here. Like that's a lot of scrolling for a potential client to keep going and going and going. So I personally don't use that type of website, but that is an option for sure. The one I like and the one that I always use is one with pages. So I have an about section, a hire me section, a portfolio section, a testimonial section, and a contact with a blog. So I like websites structured this way because, first of all, a lot of business owners know this structure. A lot of their businesses and their website are structured this way, right? You can go to Beehive, one of my clients here, and you can see how they structure their website. They have up here, they have pages here, and those pages open up to more sub pages underneath. So this is a normal structure for a website versus what Jessica has, which is not necessarily normal, but it works for her. She is not starving as a writer. She has a lot of work. So just realize that. It's a preference, but I like to do what the normal thing is just to make it easier for a potential lead to come to my site, know that it is a service website, can immediately tell that I am hireable because I have a hire me section. I have a portfolio section. Those two pages immediately tell prospects that they're on a website for someone that offers a service, which hopefully is writing if they can read my little call to action right here. All right. So, a website is a valuable tool for online writers. If you don't have a website, of course you can start building on, like with a Facebook page, on a Medium profile, on your LinkedIn profile. You can start that way. Maybe you'll be able to grab your first client, but I strongly suggest that you go on and invest in a website down the road. All right, the next tool is a professional email address. Now, I don't go into how to create that, but you do need a professional email address so that you can pitch to potential clients. And I did talk about that in one of my lives about what was it, one of the tips that you need. So professional email address. Mine is elna@elnakane.com. That's a domain specific email address. If you don't have a website, like I said, and you want to start freelance writing, then you can have a professional Gmail account. So it would be your name at Gmail, or your name with a number, or your name with an identifier like copywriter, writer, health writer, plus your name at Gmail, like something like that, so that it's professional. Let me look at my list that I have here. All right, so we went to WordPress, and then we did an email, which is actually not on this list, or if it is, I can't find it. So maybe I'm going to give you more tools now. The next one is Grammarly. Excuse me. You don't have to, use Grammarly. You can use other editors, but I personally like Grammarly because it comes with sorry, I keep seeing my folders, a desktop version. And I run all my client pieces through this. This is one of my client pieces that I submitted to them. And before I went through Grammarly and looked at their suggestions. Now, one thing you do want to realize is that you don't need to always follow what Grammarly or what an editor tells you, like an editing tool tells you. You don't have to change. So some of this was already edited, and you can see there's still some things that I didn't change because I want it to still be my voice and not AI directed or directed in a way that doesn't sound like me. So I don't always, agree with all of the things here. I do use Grammarly mostly for cleaning up some sentence structures and comma usage. For some reason, I am the worst at knowing where to place commas in my writing. I think I've been scarred through elementary school and realizing there's only one structure to do commas. But then when I do that, Grammarly takes away those commas. So then I second guess myself. And I have been doing that for the past 10 years of second guessing myself of where should I put these commas. So Grammarly helps me at least with that. And then there's a whole Oxford comma. So then it just becomes this muddled mess. And so I like Grammarly in that respect. And if you're interested in using Grammarly, I do have a link, and it's an affiliate link, so I can drop that in the description. Actually, I can drop it in the comments too, right? I always keep forgetting that. So it is, I think it's this. Let me check and see before I give you the link to sign up, because you can sign up for like a free trial. Kane. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. So it's elnakane.com/go/Grammarly. So you can use that if you want to sign up. But yeah, I use Grammarly all the time with my client pieces, and I should use it more for my emails and for my own copy, but I honestly don't use it as much. The next thing is Canva or an image editor. A lot of your clients are not going to ask you to use or to have stylized images, but you can wow your clients by giving them a GIF, by giving them an infographic, by giving them a graph. Canva allows you to have to make graphs. So you can just type in graphs and charts, and using the brand colors of your client, you can make your own chart if you want to spend the time. I mean, I would do this for like a first client that I really want to work with and have a good relationship with. I might create a graphic. They don't have to use it, but it's just the thought that counts kind of thing. So if I was going to use something like this for one of my clients, I would have to make sure that the colors match. And so there's like a color picker? I think you can just find out what the colors are. Color picker. Or is it with with inspector? You can inspect the colors. There's a way, I don't know if someone knows, but there's a way to figure out the colors if I go and do, where is it? Window. Developer. Inspect elements, I think. Is that where it is? Where it shows the colors? That's through RGB. But yeah, so you can find the colors by doing something like what I'm doing, like in the inspection. So I'm just gonna copy that. Is that what I gave them? Convert. Oh, maybe I did something wrong. Oh, I did. Here. All right. Awesome. See, so I found the color through Beehive here, but I need to convert it to hex. And here it is. Perfect. See, so I was just fooling around. So I can now use this color in Canva and change one of these colors here to that. Oh, that wasn't the color. What the heck? Let me see. To that color, ideally. But that was not the color. Okay. Oh, is this it? That's the same color. I'm sorry, I'm just having a brain fart here. Oh, there it is. Okay. I think it had a double hashtag. So there, I was able to, so, I mean, it's going to take some time and hopefully that'll wow potential clients that you spend the time to find their brand colors, to use it in a graphic, to make the graphic and then put it in your post. Like, you know, like you're going to go above and beyond, especially for clients that you really want to work with, that are paying you that value. It's that value for my high paying clients. This is the stuff that I do, you know, for them. And if they like it, then I'll keep on doing it. If they have their own person that does all the graphic design, well, then I can just tell them this is what I want, and then they'll convert it for their brand. You know, it's just something, an extra touch, and so that's why I like Canva doing it that way kind of thing. But anyways, sorry about that. That was a long tangent on Canva. The next thing that you should probably be using, the next two things are, and we talked about it already, is ChatGPT and a detector tool. Okay. So I've already shown you ChatGPT, but I mean, I hate when it does that when I transition. I've been using it all on the side here, if you can see. But ChatGPT, you can use the content here, and then you can use a detector tool. So I mentioned Zero GPT is one tool you can use. Content at scale detector you can use. This is free. A lot of businesses use this particular one. And then there's Originality. Originality is a paid one, and I signed up to this one, so I have an account with Originality. But that's another detector tool that you can use. So I always advise writers, if a client is a very like a stickler with AI, then I would present them all the different AI tools out there. There's lots of free ones, and give them those reports. Some of them will be 90, some of them will be 60, some of them will be I don't know, 95, and some will say likely human, some will say mostly human. And so then you can present that to your client, like, look, like the tools aren't that reliable, but it's on the up and up that it's mostly human, so here you go, kind of thing. But I haven't had that. I haven't had to convince clients in that capacity, but you might as a new writer, especially for those clients that aren't paying top quality for content. They're going to be more of a stickler for the content that they want. Oh, hey, Kat. Good. I love making infographics for my clients' articles and case studies. Good. I just asked them for their hex codes, but Canva Pro has a tool you can use. Awesome. Cool, cool, cool. Alrighty, let's see. All right, so we did detection tools, ChatGPT. Those are two other tools. All right, another paid tool that I don't use often, but I do recommend for new writers is, let me see if I can get it going. Oh, hold on. Excuse me. I gotta sign into it first. All right. So the tool that I am recommending to a lot of new writers when they start freelance writing and they need a place to find somewhat good quality jobs that aren't scams, that are legit, that pay adequately, not necessarily high paying, and hopefully not necessarily low paying, but adequately, is to use a Writer's Work. Writer's Work is a content platform. It's a job board, and I recommend it over other paid job boards right now, but I like Writer's Work. So I do have lots of videos on Writer's Work. I do have a blog post on Writer's Work, and I still go to it on a monthly basis just to get some ideas of what's been happening here, what kind of jobs are seen lately. You can tick you only want freelancing positions to make it easy for you. So there's marketing writer Ablavity that's been curated from Indeed. Okay, so you can look at that. For maths, also on Indeed. Oh, it does say Indeed on here. So you can see this one's Simply Hired, Indeed. Pro Blogger, I like using Pro Blogger, but you can see how it's sourcing through Media Bistro, Pro Blogger, Freelance Writing Gigs. These are all great sites that have freelance work, but this cultivates and curates all those jobs together, and then it does company pages as well. I've seen company pages as well, maybe not under necessarily for freelance, but I've seen company pages being featured here. I don't know what they term it here. I just see a lot of Indeed right now. But yeah, I like Writer's Work, and like I said, I'll drop a link or a video so that you can see what that's all about. If you have any questions about this tool, just let me know. Oh, that's my list of stuff that I shouldn't be showing you. I'm going through my list here. So Writer's Work. Okay. And then the other two are also paid, and this is my freelance writing planner that I like and I use. Let me see if I can find it. I had to put it away because my cat was eating it actually. Hold on. Put it away. Yeah, I can't find it. I must have put it away somewhere high where the cat can't find it because he was starting to eat it. But I can find it just here on Amazon. I'm wondering where I put it. It's the productivity planner from Ashley Inaris, who is a freelance writer. I actually had her come do a lesson in the Write Your Way to Your First 1K Facebook group. I often get experts to come in to talk about stuff, and she talked about some goal setting and some other things, which was really helpful for a lot of writers. And then she also created this productivity planner, which has, a pitching section. It has a client section, so you can put all your client work. It has note section. It has a calendar. It has a whole bunch of cool things in it that can keep you organized if you like writing things down. I like doing both. So this really helped me when I was trying to go for brands. I really liked the system that I used at that time with this planner, because brands work a little bit different than the small business owners that I am working with currently. And so this planner sort of helped me with being more organized, because Ashley works, that's her like niche, is working with the brands, magazine publications kind of thing. So it's tailored a little bit in that way, but it's still applicable to just my freelance clients and my small business owners that I work with kind of thing. So there's that one. And then, oh yeah, the book, which I think is a really a good book for a lot of new writers. I'm hearing good things about it. It's called the Money Guide for Freelance Writers. Oh, sorry about that. The Money Guide for Freelance Writers. Let me see if that helps. It is a book by Alexis Grant here, and she used to own The Right Life. So I don't know if you know about The Right Life, but when I first started freelance writing, I mean, The Right Life was a great resource for freelancing. They do freelancing, blogging, publishing. They've opened it up, and now it's been bought by the selfpublishing.com. So the quality is a little bit different. It's just a little bit different than when it was ran by Alexis Grant, but it still has some great information here. And so it's run by her. The book is written by her and her dad. Her dad is a CPA. So they provided a really nice resource for writers. I do promote this in my course, and I do suggest strongly to get this book if you need help with taxes and stuff. This is geared for US writers. All right. I'm in Canada, but I still found a good part of the section. There's a good first or second part of the section that is just money tips, money financial tips for running your own business kind of thing, which is helpful. So like how to make sure you're earning enough to cover your expenses and taxes, how quarterly estimated taxes work, right? How much you should pay each quarter, retirement plans, whether you should transition your business to sole proprietor LLC. Those are all good questions that can be answered in this book, whether to elect the S Corp tax status, and yes, it is geared towards the US writers, but like I said, you can still pick and choose some of the things that will applicable to you. But definitely get this. It is a really good resource for new writers. All right. The next, oh, hey, Angie. Glad you can make it. Unfortunately, it does not have any options for writers living in the countries other than USA and Europe. Which one for sure? Let me know. Is that regarding writers' work you're talking about, Angie? It does not have many options for writers living in the countries. Yeah, some of these tools, like I said, may not be applicable to certain people in certain countries. I can't, I can't please everyone. I can do only so much. And plus I'm in Canada, so my viewpoint is different than maybe someone in the States as well. The next one is an SEO tool. Now, if you want to do any kind of online writing, and even if clients aren't asking for it, SEO is still a foundational element for like all online businesses. Okay, writer's work. Okay. So I both of my clients do give me a keyword, but I mean, I've had clients in the past give me like the main keyword and like 20 similar keywords to use in my content. You know, I've had other clients give me a huge SEO guide on how to structure each post, how to write the skyscraper technique, like all this stuff, you know, for SEO purposes. You know, so there's lots of levels to SEO, but for a writer, you don't have to be you don't have to know all of it. I mean, clients do provide it for you, but I want you to be familiar with like using an SEO tool. I use Ahrefs, but Ahrefs has a free keyword tool. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, free keyword generator under Ahrefs. So you can see that. And so it gives you like a small amount. So I can just put boho couch, find keywords for, you know, if I write for a home decor, and here you go. So if I was hired by a company that didn't give me a keyword, but they said, I want to, you know, we have a line of boho couches that we want you to write product descriptions for in a blog post rounding up the best boho couches or whatever, if that's what they want, then you can make sure that you're going to have sections on pillows, different ideas, some vintage. You're going to add the word vintage in there, gypsy in there, some boho couch cover ideas you can put in your post, modern ideas, comfy, using those words in your blog post. Those are all a lot of keywords that you can use within one blog post just to give it that extra oomph to your content, just to help that client hopefully get more traffic. And so you can use something like a free SEO tool to help you with your writing for clients. If you guys are using SEO tools, what are the ones that you're using? I'd like to know. All right, the next one is get to know Google Drive. A lot of new writers aren't familiar with like the Google suite of tools. You can, you know, I like to use slides a lot. So if you just type in slides, you can go to Google Slides and, you know, create your own slides. I do this for a lot of my YouTube videos when I'm not showing my face. When I had my thyroid was really big, or I just didn't want to show my face that day, I would create these slide shows for my videos. But sometimes a client might want a slideshow, so you can present that to them, especially if you're doing like social media stuff. So there's slides, of course, there's Gmail, Docs. A lot of people are going to be using Docs when they're writing their client pieces. With Docs, I mean, there's some things in here where you can, I think, use AI, but I haven't been using that, or I don't know if I have an option for that. But I just use it for my client pieces. And so, you know, just as an example, you know, 10 best email capture tools. I'm going to make sure that this is in title, that this is centered, right? I'm going to press enter to make sure that I have a space. I'll write my dummy text, press, have a period, press enter. And if I want to start a new thought, I need to go back and make sure to add a space after my paragraphs. Now, remember, when you're writing online, one sentence could be one paragraph. So then you need to have a space. And so I have a space now, and I can write my sentence, write another sentence. Usually you don't want more than 3 sentences per paragraph, basically. Press enter. Now I have another paragraph, and then this one will be 2 sentences. And then I'm going to, you know, do that. And then I'm going to do H2 because now I'm going to do my, you know, opt-in monster is 1. And then I'm going to go and talk about opt-in monster. But look, oh, I have to go back now and make sure that this section has paragraphs. Now I can work on this. I can do I can do a bullet list, one here, one here, one here, one here, and then go and do my other things. Okay. So learning how to use that function, the paragraph function, like helps alleviate so many headaches for business owners, because what they normally do is that they'll just copy this stuff and they'll put it into the back end of their website, which could be Webflow, it could be WordPress. And when you don't do what I just did, instead do something like, if I do opt-in monster again, press enter and press enter, and then like, oh, I want a new paragraph. So enter twice, then do that one, enter twice, and then do that one. When they copy that, they're going to have humongous gaps in the back end of their content. It's going to look like this in WordPress, huge gaps. And so now the client or the editor has to go and spend the time to optimize and reformat your blog posts like that. So you don't want that. Another thing, a lot of people aren't using headings. They're not using headings. They think when they're going to start a new section, people end up doing something like opt-in monster, and then they just bold it. Or they do a heading and then they bold it. Unless a client does that with their content brief, you don't bold anything. You don't need to, because again, it just makes the formatting harder when they put your post into the back end of their website. Okay. But yeah, a lot of people I'm noticing when I get guest posts, they just use bold and they might just manually increase that. And that's what their H2 is. Well, no, this is the H2. That is not an H2. That's a fake H2. Right? It's under normal text. That's not how you do this. So you have to use the headings. You have to use the paragraph, space after paragraph function with your Gmail. Okay. So if you guys have any questions on that, let me know. You're guilty. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. All right. Don't worry. It took me a while to figure that out too. I think my husband was the one who told me, like, I don't know, 2015, 16. He was like, what are you doing? Like, that's not how you work with GDocs or whatever. So, because for many years, I was using Microsoft Word. So Microsoft Word, I love. I was using it up until like 2021. But then after 2021, especially with the pandemic, a lot of people were very much online. They just used Google Docs. So that's now all my clients. This is how we communicate through Google Docs with the comments and all that stuff. So now I'm using it like this. Another thing too is that when you're writing your post, so I have different iterations. I'll have a dump file. I'll have all this stuff. The client, I would always, if I'm done with a piece, I'll always copy it and put it into a new document. Because if I go and put it into a new document, oh my gosh, stop it. And then give the completed post like this to the client. Because if I gave them my working document, I mean, unless they want it, they can look at the version history of all the things you've done. They can see how long you've worked on each post or each point, how long it took you, how many hours, how many days, all that stuff. And I mean, some clients, if they want a true representation of your work and they want to ensure that you're not using AI, I guess they can do that. They haven't asked me, but I always give them just a fresh document so that they don't see my history of the garbled mess that I do to write my post, kind of thing. Okay. Excuse me. So I'm going to be talking about how to write a blog post in another live. So I'll probably go through all this again, in case, I have new people looking at that live. But G Suite stuff is important to familiarize with the slides. With the sheets, G Sheets, you can create your income list. Like I track my income through G Sheets. So I can just use all that stuff. You don't need to use Excel. You don't need to use Microsoft Word. You don't need to use other programs. You can use everything in the Google suite. That's all you need. Let me see. Let me go to my list now. See what else the other tools that I mentioned. Okay, got that. Another thing that you might want to consider is joining a Slack community. A Slack community is an online community. Most of them are free. I do in my course, Write Your Way to First 1K, have a lesson actually on Slack communities and give you all the Slack communities that I'm a part of or that are beneficial to writers. But I can give you one right now, which is the Super Path Slack community. Here it is. You can go to superpath.com and then click on join community, sign up that way, and then you'll get access to the Superpath community. Here they have job listings, which is just curated from the Superpath job board, but it's there. But a lot of content leads are here. So they might reach out and ask for a writer kind of thing. Okay, so a Slack community is just another resource to help you, another tool to help you with your freelance writing business so that that you can ask your questions and hopefully they'll respond. One thing that I am seeing with these Slack communities is that it's not always there's not a lot of engagement, and it could be a while before people see your post kind of thing because people are busy. They're not 24/7 on the Slack community channel, right? So you're not going to get a lot of engagement or like fast action stuff in these Slack communities. That's different than a Facebook group. A Facebook group is highly engaged, lots of posts going in a day kind of thing. They're active. But it's just like another channel you can try. Another tool that I like to use also for my client piece is a plagiarism tool. Now, I know Grammarly has a plagiarism tool, but I've actually never used it. I like to use Copyscape actually. You pay for it. It's pretty budget friendly. It's pretty cheap. And then you can run your post through, like, I don't know how many words it can take, but I've been able to put thousands of words in, and then it tells me if it's been plagiarized. Because sometimes without realizing it, you might put a quote in, and you can put quotes in, but you can't put there's a certain amount of words you can use within a quote before it's plagiarized actually. So Copyscape can help me with that to figure out I can't put the full quote. I have to put partially the quote and all that stuff. So that helps me. And then other times I might see thoughts and ideas from other articles, and just through osmosis, I will put them in my brain, bundle it all up. And then, but when I put it out on paper again, it's pretty similar to what I reference, right? So it's things like that where I have to make sure that it's plagiarism free kind of thing. All the time too, I also plagiarize myself from other content pieces too. So that's just because that's the way I write kind of thing. So I'm aware of that now. And that doesn't happen to me as often. The next one is an email finder. If you need to find contacts and what their email address, then you can use something like Norbert. I have other ones that I mentioned in Write Your Way to First 1K, but Norbert, it's also called Viola Norbert. I'm not going to show you what it looks like because I have the content leads that I've been reaching out to, but you can just type in Norbert email contact or email finder or whatever, and then you'll get the link to that to sign up. It's free. I don't know how many you can use in a day. I only use like 1 to 3 a day. And I'm fine with that. I don't have to pay for that. Is it the same when you type in Word for which one? Oh, Microsoft Word you're talking about? Microsoft Word is different than Google Docs because it automatically formats all the things. So, I mean, you have to put H2, you have to click on H2 and all that stuff, but you don't have to worry about the paragraph spaces and things like that. And so if that's the case, then you can copy it straight from Microsoft Word and it goes right into a blog post. So, but for many years, I was giving clients my Microsoft Word post, my file, until my husband mentioned casually, like, some people may not have Microsoft Word, so they may not be able to open it. I didn't have a problem because these were business owners, I guess. But I think after the pandemic, things have changed. So that's why I only work with Google Docs. All right, the next thing is a project management tool. I am looking to work with Notion. I just haven't had the time to sit and really get my Notion stuff up there, but I have been using Trello. I do use my planner. So whatever, floats your boat on a project management tool. I'm using Asana with a client. So I'm liking Asana actually. It's a robust tool, but I'm liking that. But familiarize yourself with these tools because it'll help you organize your business, but it'll also help you when clients ask you if you've ever used Asana. Have you ever used Notion? Things like that. Then you can say, yes, I have. And so that'll just help you stand out more as a writer. All right. Another tool that you can use is something like Toggle to manage your time. I don't use it, but I know a lot of writers have to help them improve their writing. Toggle just is a timer. It tracks your time. So you can start for free and it'll just, it's on in the back end while you do your typing. So you can see how many hours it takes you to write your content. So that's kind of a cool thing. I haven't done it, but it could be, something that I can think about as a challenge for me. And then these last two here are more business focused kind of tools that you probably need. You do need a business PayPal account. A lot of clients will pay your invoices through PayPal. So you need to set up a business PayPal account that's separate than your personal one. Okay. Because this is a business. So you need it all separated. And then you need something like QuickBooks or similar to help you with your accounting and all of that you need to keep track of. All right. So those are the tools for, for a solopreneur, someone that is working on their own. Those are the things that you need. I'm sure there are other tools, but like I said, I personally don't use a lot. I use my Google, is just a default, all the Google stuff that I use. And then the SEO tool, the AI stuff, and Canva. And then, the SEO and my planner. Like that's basically it. I don't sit and use Toggle. I don't always use the email finder, only when I'm actively pitching and things like that. So I'm just trying to think. But those are the tools that I think are recommended for a lot of new writers. Do you guys have any questions on that? I don't see any right now, but that's it. That's all I wanted to share with you. And thank you for coming for these 10 days of lives. Next week, we're going to start up for the final week. So hopefully you guys can join me for that. So otherwise, I think we're done. I don't know if there's any more questions, but you can always post them in the discussion. All right. And I'll drop the links as well of any things that I mentioned in here. Okay. All right. Have a good day. Bye.